This channel and its content are purely for entertainment. If you happen to learn something, awesome. I'm not a professional mechanic, fabricator, HVAC tech, contractor, chef, etc. Take my advice loosely and use it if you like and agree. Otherwise, do it your way. Enjoy the video. Welcome back or to the channel. Today, and there'll be many days, I'm starting on a playground set from Costco. It's the KidsCraft Builder Bluff setup. As you can see here in my garage, I got a lot of boxes. I got a lot of work. My kids are going to be jealous because they never had anything this nice, but the grandkids are going to love it. All right, let's see if we can get some of the weeds out of here. Woohoo! That was a workout. Thought I'd take a quick second here to tell you what I'm using. I've got this Pro Shield, I think it's called Dalen is the company, commercial grade landscape fabric, and that's what's going down. I'm putting 2 layers of that, crisscrossing it, and then I'm just using some garden staples. Got these at Menards. This stuff came from Costco. It's a roll of 4 feet by 220 feet, so I'm probably going to end up using pretty much about two and a third, maybe 2.5 rolls of this when we're done, because I had a piece of one and I went through one, and this is my second full one. So we'll see where we get. Hopefully I'll be able to get it all done here. I think it will. These do come with some smaller staples, so I'm using those too, but I'm just alternating. The other ones are about, I don't know, 1 inch or so wide at the top, so they're a little bit better for holding it down, but they came with it, so I'll use them. Also from Costco, we got these 4-foot long, it comes in a pack of 2, so there's 8-foot total here, these rubber landscape edgings. They look like they've got a little brick pattern on the outside of them, like this. They're flexible, they can bend, you can cut them, but they're pretty strong and durable. I use these on my landscaping. So I'm going to put this down, and then we're going to see about putting the turf over the top of this and stapling it, actually nailing it through the holes that come with these things. So tonight I think I'm just going to get these laid out just to keep the water or rain off of it in case it decides to pour down. I won't get too much mud in here maybe, but I'm going to try to get these cut up and at least positioned along the side here, and we'll go from there. These do come with a plastic stake that you stake them down with, and then there's a couple of little joiners, little like a dowel pin type of thing that you can join the 2 pieces together, and they're sealed together pretty good. So that's what these are. Okay, so I just got them laid in there, and just to keep the any excess water or mud that might try to run in, because we're expecting a lot of rain in the next few days, so I had to hurry up and get this done. Unfortunately, I don't have time or the energy right now to get the turf in there, because I'll have to cut each one of these and miter the ends of these so that they come out square. Take 45s and miter those in the corners. But basically, we've got a 20 wide by 32 foot long platform here, and I'm pretty happy with it so far. It's really level. I think the 2 layers of this weed barrier is going to do well, and that by spraying it with weed killer beforehand and trying to take as many weeds out as I could, plus 2 layers of this, plus the layer of the turf that goes on top of that, I think we're going to do pretty good. But anyway, so that's what it looks like. We'll come back after the rain in a few days, hopefully, maybe as early as tomorrow, and start laying out that turf and getting it bolted down in there, or nailed down in there effectively with the big plastic nails. I am going to have to drill holes through each one of the areas where it goes through the turf carpet. That way I can go through the turf carpet with the nail in through the rubber piece and down into the ground, and hopefully that'll hold it all the way around the perimeter. So we'll see how that goes. All right, well, as you can see, we've drug over the turf rolls, and first thing I need to do is get these rubber borders put in exactly where I want them, so I can get those basically in place, and then I'm going to end up attaching the carpet through the stakes, or through the carpet, turf, in through there with these plastic stakes. So, but in order to not have these things get all shifted around and to make this thing get offset, I want to make sure my rectangle is good from corner to corner, which I've already measured, and basically I'm pretty much dead on. We'll put some pins in the corners just to see exactly where they go, and I'm going to have to remeasure anyway because I've got to miter these corners, so I'm going to be moving it in. It shouldn't really make much of a difference, but I need to make sure once I get the corners mitered on all 4 sides that we still have the same distance from corner to corner. And I don't have a tape measure long enough, so I've got 2 tape measures here, so Captain Redundancy. So sorry for the wind here, but we'll get started on this and see where we go. Just to show you, so the stakes that came with the playset, I just put, as you can see, I put 1 in each corner and then 1 halfway down basically, so that way as I move these things around, I won't get lost on how this thing is squared up. And even though I'm going to miter these corners and it'll move in a little bit, I can move it in the same amount of distance and hopefully will be equal to the pins all the way around, and we should be good. So that's the plan. We're going to see if we can miter these things on this cardboard right here. I don't actually have a plastic miter box. I could use a saw, I suppose, but I've cut these before with a hand saw. Actually, it's believe it or not, the easiest method to cut them. I tried using a grinding wheel. I tried using a different saw blade, and ultimately a hand saw goes through this rubber better than any other saw or grinding wheel that I could come up with. So we'll give it a shot. Okay, so I'll bring you in here and just show you. So you can see I got the corners mitered now, and they're not perfect, but they don't look too bad. And I was able to move in about the same distance, almost 4 inches on each one of the corners here, and about 2 inches on the sides. So I'll stake it there, and then we got our joint there, and we got our miter there, and up here. So all in all, we're pretty close to being the same distance from the stakes all the way around. So I suspect that we're still good and square here. You can look down these. They're not, 100% straight, but they're pretty close, and I'll have to obviously be working with them as I tack them down. But I think for what I'm doing, it's going to be good enough. And you can see there's a little bit of a dog leg down there. We'll have to fix that when we get down there, but in any case, they're pretty close. So we're going to go with that. And sorry for the wind noise here, but we'll get started unrolling the carpet turf and start staking it down. I will mention real quick too, this is what they call grizzly grass. Got it at Menards, and it was not a cheap option, but it was not the most expensive way to go here. Rubber mulch was an option, but that was like triple the price. A cheaper turf would have worked, but this stuff actually has a 10-year indoor-outdoor warranty on it, so I'm hoping it'll last. We'll see how it works, but it was a reasonable buy. I think it was like 64 cents a foot. With an 11% rebate, it came down to 50-something cents a foot, so not horrible, but not cheap either. Alright, so you get the idea. You've got to take these little pins, and unfortunately the holes that come pre-drilled in these don't work so well, so I have to drill them out, and then I have to shove them in still with pliers because they're really hard to get into that rubber. Once they get in, they're really not easy to get out. So in any case, I'm going to go around and try to see if I can get all these connected and not have this thing unroll on me everywhere, and then I'll have to smooth it out as I go and stake it in. So we'll see how that goes. Well, that was a lot of fun. A smarter guy probably would have done that on a bench or something, drilled the holes ahead of time, brought them out here individually already with the studs in there, or the connectors in there. Probably would have been a lot easier than sitting on the ground doing it, but sometimes I don't have time to plan ahead, just got to improvise, so that's what we're doing today. So what we're going to do today is we're going to get these boxes opened up. We're going to make sure none of the pieces are broken, missing, and just kind of try to do an inventory and try to decide what we're up against. I know it's going to be a lot of work, and I'm going to attempt to build a lot of this in my garage as I have time over the next week or so. And then when I get some bigger components put together, I'll get my son to come over and help me move it all out into the yard. Actually going to build a platform playground area out in the backyard as well, which you may have already seen. That's phase one, but it's been doing a lot of raining and the ground is very wet, so I'm going to have to move to working on this in here. There's a lot of pieces. Fortunately, at least they're all stamped with a number on them, so the ones that are common, you can find the numbers on them and try to get them all organized together. Some of these, there's a lot of individual pieces though. Holy cow, folks. All right, so as you can see here, we've got everything out of the boxes, at least in sort of kind of separated into components. We've got some pre-made panels in this dark wood. I think this goes up on the top if I remember right. I got all the darker pieces, and believe it or not, I think every single one of those is different. I've sort of got them piled together, but they're mostly all a little different. And then we got a lot of this redwood, cedar wood, or whatever it's made out of. I think these are all pretty much different. Tried to just sort them out. Got our bridge, at least they've got that assembled already. More of the redwood. Those are the, I can tell by the size of a couple of those are swing set posts, I believe, for the A-frame part. Of course, we got more and more over here. Again, we got the big beam, I know that one, that goes across for the swing set. And then a bunch of other miscellaneous redwood pieces. Fortunately, they did assemble some of the larger pieces. So we've got the side here with the two windows in it, and some of the other vertical pieces, as well as one of the shutter type pieces there. And then in the box here, we've got the indoor enclosed slide. I got all the other pieces out of there. I'm just going to leave this in the box, I think, until I'm ready to assemble it. It's probably best just getting it out of the way. So the idea was I'm going to try to do as much of this in this garage as I can. As you can see, I'm not going to have a ton of room to work. I'll probably have to shift some stuff around. Oh, and yeah, and then I forgot all the ancillary things. You got your rock wall pieces, your handles to hold on to, of course the swings, and trapeze bar brackets, and swing chains, a couple of swing, just these rubber type swings, a couple of the pieces that go on the top to frame in the top of the house, or whatever you want to call this thing. And then other miscellaneous hardware. You've got some huge heavy stake down, so these things are going to get staked down, and this thing's not going to go anywhere. And then of course your frame hardware, like your A-frame. I don't even know what this is. This is 4 really heavy boxes of hardware. Just says hardware box A, B, C, and D, I think. And then we've got our yellow fireman's pole and the bracket for that I've laid there. And one thing I might say is everything that you see here came with this setup except for these two giant rolls of green turf. And this green turf is something that I'm going to put down as a base for this playset. I'm actually working on the ground out there right now, getting the ground prepared, getting multiple layers of weed barrier down, and then I'm putting in a rubber edge border to go around it, and then all that's going to get staked and stapled down with this green turf on top of it, and hopefully that's going to make a good surface for the kids to play on, and we'll see how it goes. In any case, as you can see, I don't have a lot of space to work left here. Hopefully I can shift things around and move things as necessary. At some point I'm going to be getting these turfs out of here, hopefully, before I get the rest of this together, and I can get them outside and get them in place. And I can throw that slide out of the way if I need to, but we're at least sorted. That's half the battle. I'm not even going to begin to start inventorying this right at the moment. I think I'm gonna end this for today, and we'll come back and start again tomorrow and see where we get. So I'll see you then. Well, we're out here finally going to begin the installation on the swing set. Now, one of the cool things, and I don't know how many of you know about this, but it's actually really neat. A lot of things now support this app on either an Android or an iOS Apple device that's called Built. Without having to use the paper instructions, or as an addition to the paper instructions, a lot of companies are using this Built app now, and they have their products in there, so you get a three-dimensional, movable, selectable set of instructions that really can assist you in something difficult. Well, I say difficult, it's not difficult, but just there's so many parts trying to identify pieces and so forth that it's actually a really big help. So I'm going to show you what that looks like here today. I'm going to be using that. I'll have the paper manual too, but I'm going to try to follow along with this application, which is really cool. Okay, so first thing, this Built app, I obviously have the swing set already selected here. I just put the KidsCraft company in whenever I installed the app, and then picked the particular swing set that we have because they had this one in there. And so what we've got here is, again, this is not just a static picture. This is actually an expandable picture that you can twist all around three-dimensionally, see every part of it however you want. You can move things around. It's really pretty neat, and it's even got audio on it, so you turn the audio on and play it.
This procedure will assist you with assembling the KidsCraft Boulder Bluff 2-in-1 playset.
And then all you do is hit the next button.
To complete this procedure, you will need a tape measure, a carpenter's level, a carpenter's square, a claw hammer, an electric drill, a No. 1 Phillips head drill bit, a rubber mallet, a 3/16 of an inch drill bit, a No. 1 Phillips screwdriver, a No. 2 Robertson screwdriver, a socket wrench extension, 1/2 inch and a 9/16 of an inch sockets, 1/2 inch and 9/16 of an inch open-end wrenches, an adjustable wrench, an 8-foot Select a level location for your playset. Option 1 configure. Select a level location. Throughout these instructions, symbols are provided. Throughout the assembly, open the box with the wood parts and look for the key number stamped on the end of the wood part. Looking at the first two numbers, sort each wood part with the same first two numbers together. This will assist you with the assembly. In addition to the key number stamped on the end of each wood part, you can also identify the wood parts by tapping on the image or using the parts identification pages in the manual. Note the hole and angle orientations. Ensure the boards are flush. Note, throughout the assembly, T-nuts are always hammered into place before attaching the corresponding hardware.
So, as you can see, that's pretty cool. So that's what I'm going to use, and we'll see where we get. Clamps can be your extra set of hands. Technically this is supposed to be a 2-man job, maybe a 3-man job at some points, but these are going to work just fine getting it exactly where I want it, and then we'll pre-drill our holes and get our bolts in there. Three people and a ladder. Yeah, I didn't use any of that. One guy, no ladder, X that out. Clamps. Those guys are clamps. looking right at the house. So.
Yeah. Yeehaw. I died. This is proof of it. Oh my God. You're pretty close. Okay. Yeah, probably will. You can get out and look. Yeah, probably. You can get out and look.
This is my second and third person. These clamps have been very valuable trying to do this myself. So if you're going to do this yourself, absolutely make sure you got some good clamps. And it's not going to solve every problem, but for the most part, I've been able to do pretty much everything. My wife's helped me a little bit. May have a little bit of help before we finish, but we're in pretty good shape. And I got bugs on the camera. Get off. Okay, so I ended up taking off this bottom piece so I could connect this final piece to it, because I don't know who the engineer was that designed the way this bolt had to go in and this nut. Pretty sure this slide manufacturer's, they're not KidsCraft, it's somebody else that makes this thing. I don't know if I can find a name on it somewhere, but there we go. Solo Wave Design, Mount Forest, Ontario, Canada. Patent pending. Well, I think they better revise their patent, because you see that nut right there, that screw hole? Well, you've got to put a nut underneath there, down in that crevice, right down in here. Well, you can't barely get a wrench in, and you have to put it in a certain way, and the wrench has to hold the nut and be perfectly aligned with this. You can't get a regular sock or ratchet or anything, or a screwdriver up here, so you have to use this thing just to get this bolt in. And there's two of them, there's one on either side. This one's worse because this is in the way. The other side is a little bit better, but in any case, after going through every tool I had, spending over an hour on these two bolts, I finally found this 7/16 inch wrench that was thin enough and the bolt would, or the nut would slide in tight enough to get it in there and just get it started. And then I was able to use this to just slowly tighten it up. But it took me an hour just to get those two bolts in, and I had to take this big piece off of there, what I already had on there. So now I got to redo that, because there was no way to work on this while it was already on the slide. It was incredibly stupid. So if you're running into this, all I can suggest is, I tried magnets, I tried tape, I tried different things trying to get in there. Ultimately, this Craftsman 7/16 inch wrench was just thin enough to get in there and just get it started, and then I was able to do it. But that was a pain. Here's another helpful tool. They want you to use that stupid little manual screwdriver that's bent and try to get in there, but I've got this flexible head that I can attach to this impactor and put whatever bit in I want. And this seems to work. This is actually letting me get in here where I can get up underneath here and turn it and not have to use that stupid wrench, because I can tell you right now, you'd be there for 3 days tightening those nuts up with that little wrench. It's hard to get on there, it's hard to hold it. So or screwdriver, I guess I should say. This that should never have been invented, because the reason why this guy invented this was because some idiot engineer decided to make something that you couldn't put the bolts on with a regular screwdriver or something else. So fortunately, there's people that know how to do this kind of stuff. Okay, so just want to talk a little bit about the challenges that I had in putting this swing set together. We've had it now together for a couple weeks. We've had the kids over playing on it a few different times. Everything's worked out really well, but I did have some challenges putting it together, so I probably hit some of that as I was going through it, but I wanted to kind of do a final summary and just let you know what things I ran into. So here we go. So one of the things was this slide, and it was definitely difficult to do as with just one person, especially as I showed, I think in my video, trying to get these bolts down in there. They were very difficult. Just trying to get them all, loosely connected and all this tucked together was kind of a pain in the butt. But other than the ones that were tucked in down there, it wasn't bad. Having some clamps definitely helped, especially when I was squeezing these together to make the final connections. It was nice to take a clamp and clamp that and pull it tighter. And even after I let loose of the clamp, it was able to get some, threads and get that started. So that definitely helped out a lot. I would say One of the other things that I guess if I'm talking about things I dislike about the swing set so far, I'm not really very happy with the thickness and the quality of the wood. I mean, I knew that I was going to be giving something by not doing this myself and building it out of, you know, traditional lumber, because obviously this stuff is built in a much thinner, it's more like 1x in a lot of cases. In some cases it's smaller than a 1x. It is sturdy. The kids, you know, definitely aren't going to hurt it. You know, as long as there's little kids on it, it's not going to be a problem. I think they only rate the, you know, the bridge and things like that for about 110, 120 pounds maybe anyway. So you're not gonna, you know, you're not gonna have teenagers climbing on this thing. You shouldn't anyway. So, so hopefully it'll last enough years to get through my grandkids, and then we'll, who knows, maybe we'll take this and make a putt-putt golf situation out here, which, by the way, I did put a golf hole in there and also one down there, and I've got this pretty flat coming across here, so it's not too bad. And I've got cup holders, got these sitting on it right now, so I can cover it up. That way the kids can play out here and not step in a hole. But that's for the adults, or grandpa whenever he wants to come out here and putt some golf, putt around a little bit. So that's kind of neat. But anyway, back to the swing set. So yeah, so there's that. Let's go around here. This pole here is definitely sturdy. You put it in the ground, which, you know, no problem. I mean, it's definitely sturdy, and it's not going anywhere. It's a little concerning with the little ones coming to this ledge, not knowing how to do this, and, you know, there's really nothing to keep them from falling off of there. So you definitely, if you've got, my grandson's only almost 3 years old. He hasn't fell off of there, but he really likes to do this pole, but he needs help doing it. So it's not something you can just, you know, let your kids go on it and expect them not to, you know, maybe fall off of there. So obviously, maybe that's just common sense, but I kind of wish there was something here to stop them, or something they had to climb over to get to this. I realize that wouldn't make it work very well, but I guess the main thing is watch your little ones. Don't let them fall off of this trying to climb down this pole, because that was the first thing he wanted to do. So, so there's that. This bridge was a little bit of a challenge getting it. It really took a lot to get the bolts in, stretch this across there. I mean, it's a pretty tight fit, so it definitely takes two people to do that. I definitely had my wife helping me do that. I don't think one person could have accomplished it. It was definitely, somebody had to pull and kind of stretch the bridge so you could get the bolts in it. So I would say you're gonna need some help on that regardless if you're doing this by yourself. I would also say the kitchen area down here, it wasn't really clear exactly where you were supposed to mount this sink and stove thing. I mounted them this way. They actually showed them the other way in the diagrams, and I don't know why you would have them turn the other way when there's a slide there, but I put them down toward this end so we'd had an open area on the counter down there, and faced them this way, of course. So I felt like that was going to be the best use of it. Let's see, you know, this again, this ladder definitely is strong enough to hold. I mean, I stood on it, I climbed up it. It definitely holds my old fat guy carcass, but you wouldn't want people very big climbing this ladder very much, because I could see that not lasting. I feel like it's not as sturdy as I'd like it to be. It'll be fine for the 2 to 9 year olds that don't weigh 200 pounds, but don't, you know, if you get a big kid or something, they could definitely put some weight on this, and it, you know, I'd be a little bit concerned about it. The A-frame part here, this was definitely a two-man job. Now I did lay it down, and you probably saw me in the video doing that. I laid it down and actually connected all this. I didn't try to set it up and do like they showed in the video or in the instructions. So I was able to put these braces and everything and get that all bolted together laying on the ground, and then picked it up and put it over there and put the rest of the bolts in that hold that. So that worked pretty well. I do like the braces, or these stakes that go down in the ground. They're able to screw to the wood there. So I've got these on, of course, the A-frame. I've got them at the ends of the base of this tower. There's one on the slide. There's one on the base of the ladder over there. And so that is nice. It definitely keeps the thing in place. It's really sturdy. I mean, it's, like I said, it'll move a little bit, but it's really sturdy. I don't think this thing's going anywhere short of a tornado. But this beam here that holds the swings, this is the strongest part of the whole thing. This part is probably I'm most impressed with. This is really some stout stuff. This beam is really stout. I don't know what you call that. It's almost like a pair of 2x6s bonded together or something, or a little less than a 4x6. But in any case, it seems really strong, and the chains are definitely strong enough. I've been able to sit down on that. I don't think I'd want to swing on it myself much, but definitely for the kids, it's definitely good enough. We replaced one of the swings with a baby swing, just because our kids are small enough that they can get, our grandkids are small enough that they can get in that, and they enjoy that as well. So, and the older one, she can reach these bars too, so that was nice. So yeah, this slide, works pretty good. Not sure I understand this whole idea here. This thing's supposed to be underneath here and somehow support that. It doesn't even touch it. Again, I don't know that it needs to. It's got 3 screws or 3 bolts in it. It seems pretty secure. It's not going anywhere, but just a little strange. I would say it was a little challenging getting the roof on. That was definitely a 2-person job as well. I mean, I did most of it myself, but I had my wife, kind of come up there and hold a couple of things, and that made that process better. So in any case, that's the long and the short of it. So far I'm pretty happy. Again, we've had it for, I don't know, couple of weeks. Had the kids over maybe 3 times playing on it, and they really enjoyed it. I will definitely be highlighting that. I think I've got some video I'll attach to this of the kids playing on it, and we had some fun on Memorial Day, so I will include that in the video. I guess I should, just to finish up, I will say I'm so far really happy with this grizzly grass. You saw my preparation in the video. I stripped the ground pretty well, got it de-weeded, sprayed weed killer all over it, put 2 layers of industrial strength weed barrier down, and then rolled out this grizzly grass, and then stapled it down with these plastic staples, nails, whatever you want to call it. And then I've got this rubberized edging that I use as a border. I had to trim some of it up here a little bit just to get it a little cleaner, but so far so good. You got to watch the kids kind of coming in and out of it, because they might trip over it when they're running into this, but that's why I had to plant grass out here, so hopefully that'll come up enough to where there won't be such a lip there. They'll just kind of come right over the top of it, and it won't be a tripping hazard. But so far I'm happy with that too. So anyway, that's about it. I'm pretty happy with this thing, and so I definitely would recommend it. I guess one thing I might say that I don't know if I did say, I actually got this on sale. I bought it, it was almost $1,500. I think it was it started off $14.50 at Costco. By the time I walked in to buy it, it was down to $13.99, and within 3 days they marked them down to $11.50. So I went back and got my difference, and so I ended up, basically $1,200 in this thing versus $1,600. So I was really happy with that. Probably got a total of around between $1,800, $2,000, probably closer to $2,000 in the whole setup here. So anyway, that's about it. So, as usual, thank you for watching. Appreciate you watching the videos. Hopefully you enjoyed this. Maybe you learned something. Hope I educated you or gave you some information about these swing sets, or maybe how to set up a playground in your backyard on a reasonable budget. So anyway, I thank you. If you like this video, please like it. If you haven't, subscribe, share it with your friends, comment in the comments. Be happy to answer anything anybody's got questions about. So I thank you for that. So with that, I appreciate it. Thanks again, and we'll see you next time. I took a bunch.
Let's eat our corn. You got broccoli and I got corn. Try my corn, it's so good. Let's try watermelon. No. I ate the plate. Let's eat this chip. Bummer!
Bummer's right. Bummer.
Hey. No, it's right. Bummer!
Yep, bummer. Let's make a 2-pointer.
Bummer!
Oh, good grief, bummer.
Good grief!
Huh?